welcome again to my painting stream. I am Benson, and today we will be putting some base coating on this Malifaux figure. This guy, creepy dude, Jackdaw, looks like someone's just told him a really funny joke, or he just stepped on some Lego and is in anguish. So this is one of the commissions. I do commissions as well for my mates, and just because they can't paint, so they pay me to do it. Alrighty, so Jackdaw, he's a creepy dude, he's undead, and he's got a sack on his head. It looks like he was hanged with a rope. So what I think about when it comes to choosing colours is I try to put a bit of realism into it. So I'm going to give him maybe a greeny skin tone, maybe some darker pants, try and add some texture into it. The rope itself, let's see if I'll focus a bit more. The rope itself is going to be old rope, so we're going to make that grey. And if you can see his teeny tiny little eyes, I'm going to try and make them kind of glow, maybe a bit green, I don't know, we'll see how far we go. So I'm planning to stream for about an hour just to see how far we can get. It might end up that we go a bit longer, might be a bit sooner. We'll see what happens. Okay, so first off, choosing the colours. I am using the Everlasting wet palette. I don't often use wet palettes, but it worked. So first thing I'm going to do is, where is the camera? There we go. Using this one. It's backwards. So I'm just going to read it out to you. Crick's Bane highlight. This is from P3. And as you can see, it's all nice and, well, maybe you can't see. It's pretty dry in there. We'll see how we go. What I like to do is when I've got a pretty dry paint pot is just get a bit of water. Whoop, and then shove some in the pot, mix it up a bit just to get a nice little slurry. And that should, hopefully, be enough. It's not like he's a large figure at all, so I don't need a whole lot. I just need enough for this stream. Now, I'm not sure if you can hear the music. Still can't hear the music? Okay. Because it's repeated thrice for me so far. That might be something that I have to figure out post-stream. Just looking over here at our screen. Clear chat, task, channel modes, deleted message, pause, chat, mob, boop, 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 boop. I wonder if it's in OBS that this needs to... What if I up that up a bit? Does that work? Have I just turned it down too far when I was setting this thing up? Let me know, that'd be great. Excellent. Is it the volume okay? Oh, get that out of the way. Maybe I'll put the palette in shot a little. It's not going to matter too much, I don't think. And what if I move my head to the other side? Okay, alright, let's see how we go now. Now you're probably here when you're watching painting videos to thin your paints. Personally, that you thin Games Workshop paints because they're tacky and thick. A lot of the other producers, they're pretty good by themselves. It doesn't hurt to thin. But again, it's just about how you use the paint. It's all different consistencies and whatnot. Glazing, obviously, it's got to be nice and thin because you'll be doing multiple coats, and no producer makes a good glaze like that. You have to sort of make it yourself. Alrighty, so I've got my, what did I say, Crick's Bane highlight, which is a pretty good base, I think. It's a lucky colour. I think that's a good start. We can go darker and lighter after that. So hopefully you can see see this well enough. Get some hair. I live with a lot of animals, so there will be hair appearing on places that it shouldn't be. And I also need to be aware of the placement of the miniature on the camera, so you can see. So as you can see, it's quite thin, this paint. It's pooling in the sides and showing the raised edges fairly prominent. So you can see the grey coming through. That's because it's a fairly thin paint, so I probably didn't need to thin this particular paint. It was thin enough, and that was probably because I stuck some water in the pot and sloshed it up. Which it will dry eventually, and then it'll be perfect until it dries out again. So it's a fairly simple miniature, this one. I think the difficulty or technicality will come into making his eyes glow. I'm also thinking, because it's so simple, there's just a lot of blandy, flat areas, is to try and zhuzh it up a bit by adding some texture to the cloth, so his pants and his hood, make it look like actual fibers. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Alright, hopefully you're still seeing that okay. I haven't been paying much attention to the actual preview of the camera. Thanks, Demon Master, for inviting your friends. Hopefully they'll check it out and it looks alright. I should have done the same with my mates, but they're probably at work. I asked my boss for a day off today, just some me time, and now it's turning into some us time, I guess. Ha ha ha. It's alright, you can laugh at my jokes, I am funny. I think so anyway. Believe in yourself, that's what they say, isn't it? Now you should be aware that Malifaux figures are grey plastic, and he is grey. I did undercoat him, but I used a grey. Different undercoats for different purposes, because we'll be doing a bit of both light and dark. I think grey is a pretty good starting spot. Black is excellent if you're not too fussed, because if you miss spots while you're painting, then it's blacks and you can just pretend it's shadow. Alrighty, let's have a closer look at this particular bit on his back. It's getting a bit squiggly. I can't quite make out what it's supposed to be. I think it is this part here. His vest, it looks like he's kind of Hulk Hoganing his vest open a bit. And then looks like his hood comes down to about here. So if I paint just the insides, just to kind of block it out so we can see what we're doing. Bloody Malifaux figures, they always have to be so detailed and intricate. Often to its detriment. Doesn't make it better, it just makes it more annoying to paint. I feel like I need to get an alarm or a timer or just someone to poke me in the ribs whenever the miniature goes off camera a bit, as I readjust, trying to get a better angle at it. Now, you might see that I'm struggling to get into all the bits because of his wonky pose, and then might ask, well, why don't you just paint it part assembled so you can put it together off later? You don't do that with Malifaux figures. They're frustrating to put together. We'll just put that nicely. And the way they kind of mesh together, it's all stupid. I've never been as frustrated putting a figure together as I have with some of the more simpler looking Malifaux figures. Okay, so I think we're getting a nice solid coat on all the skin. Doesn't matter at this point if we go too far on the other bits, because obviously we're going to be painting it, we're not just leaving it grey. I might go through how to undercoat in a later stream. Excuse me, because there is a technique to it. You can't just go and then that'll be it. Well, you can, but it's not good for the miniature in the long run. Too much paint makes it chip. And there will be theories and reasons for that, but I won't go through it now, unless we get bored and I need something to talk about. Oh wait, is that a look? Look at chat, look at all the words. Okay. Yes, I do need to do that, set up my Streamlabs to show when I get a follower. See, this nail, that's the undercoat. Normally you put it on a stick or whatever. I've got an undercoating stick or something like this. Sometimes I just can't be bothered and so I hold it. And then when I'm spraying with black and then I go to work the next day and then people, what did you do to your thumb? So it doesn't always look like this. I'm usually pretty clean when it comes to it. Okay. Alrighty. It's looking okay. It's still a bit thin in some areas. Not too fast because we will be doing a fair few layers on this. That's another reason why you don't want to make it too thick, because if you're doing a lot of layers, then it'll gunk up all the detail. And if you're painting a G-Dub figure, that's a lot of detail to gunk up. Probably a skull. Seems to be their trademark. I don't have any preference for figures. I know some people kind of get a bit fanboyish with different miniature producers. I use all sorts. Don't think I've got any preference for material either. Resin, plastic, metal. Plastic's easy to convert and carve. You can melt it. Plastic glue, that works well. Resin is stinky, but you can do things with it. You can kind of heat it up and bend it, but it can be brittle. There's various recipes for resin, and they're not all good. Then you got metal, which can chip a lot easier, but is a bit more sturdy. So if you drop it, depending on what it is, obviously, you can hold its shape and not snap like resin. Plastics are probably the best thing. If you're planning on dropping your miniatures, you might want to stick with plastic. Like I've got this fella here. This is a guy from Demented Games, Twisted, Nouveau. See how he's kind of leaning on that? It's that tiny little contact point. This guy's metal, so he was kind of drifting forward a fair bit. I have to keep pushing him back. But you do that too many times, and obviously he's going to snap at the foot. Who's next on the painting desk? Okay, what have we got here? Gelatinous cubes have details. It's hard to see. It's invisible. Okay. I think that's alright. I'm not going to touch his face because that's getting a whole different coat. Alrighty. I apologise if, again, I'm ignoring the camera and the miniature sways off so you can't see it. Or it goes out of focus. I don't have autofocus on this camera set, just because I find it's a bit dodgy and it keeps going like. If it's just on a fixed focus, then I know where it is, so you can get a decent look at him. Alright, let's pop that down and change my colour. So I'm just going to do the base coats. We've done the skin, I'm going to give this guy the... We've got a lot of grey, we've got some green, maybe we'll give him some dark brownish pants. See how we go with that. It's paint, we can always paint over it if we don't like it. Now I'm using a backwards foundation paint, charred granite. I don't know what the proper term is, it's probably changed since, all my paints are really old. A dark blacky brown, there you go. Kind of charcoal with a bit of brown in it. Yeah, I don't know if it's a good colour of representation. Again, don't need too much because it's just pants. Okay. Pick him up. I'll just show you what I'm using to hold this thing. So this is just a pin vise. I've just screwed or drilled a bit into this guy's foot just to hold it. Because Malifaux figures, they love having people stand on one leg while wearing high heels and think that's fine to game with. Putting him on a base and then using something like this, it'll just snap. I think I don't want to risk it anyway, so there we go. This is fine. I was also doing some research onto what would be okay to hold miniatures. Universal work handle, I think is what it's called, or work holder. They look alright. It's kind of like a weird vicey clampy thing. But so I might pick up a small one of them, and when I do another stream, I'll use that. That looks like it's a lot better for holding miniatures that have tabs on its foot, because this, you can kind of jam the tab in there, but it's not very strong. Alright, back to painting. Oh, too much. 242? Jeez, okay. Now, it normally takes me quite a while to paint a figure. Probably because I get really distracted. Because I watch TV and movies. I do this on the couch, so get home from work, have dinner, slap on a thingy, paint some stuff. So I end up painting a lot, and to my mates it looks like I may get things done pretty quickly, but it's just because I spend a whole lot of time doing it. All my spare time, basically. Sorry, what's that? When? My computer screen is a bit of a distance from me. I wonder if I can control plus to increase the screen size. No. Try and view in. If I do another stream, right? Well, depends on if this experience is traumatizing or not. But yes, the aim is to continue to do these. But life gets in the way. Tomorrow I could walk out my front door and an axe lands on my hands or something, I don't know. Then I suppose I'll be the only person painting with my mouth at that point. Okay. I think what I need to do in the future is kind of get something to hang off my little... If I'll just move this camera here so you can see I've got this kind of rig. If I hang a string or something off there to try and remind me that's where the miniature should go, so you can actually see what I'm doing. But these are all lessons that we are learning together. I really hope with this music that you listen to that it's not just the same 3 songs over and over again. If it is, I'll change it to another track and see if it's the same thing. It says it's what is it? What are we on? What station are we looking at? Pop station. 17 hours, 313 tracks. But maybe because I've marked it for instrumentals, so I don't want people singing in the background while I'm trying to talk. But there's only 3 songs in that entire list. that don't have words or lyrics. How about, because I keep moving this miniature back to keep my left arm rested on the table and then it goes out of focus, I'm going to just move the camera a bit. Put it down a bit, eh? A little bit more. How's that? Okay. Alright, yeah, bugger this. I can't do this stupid music. All tracks. What do you got for me? Hopefully it's not rubbish. We'll see. Now, I'm the kind of person who has the same CD in their car and it just keeps playing over and over again because I like that music. But I couldn't do no. Not this flippy flippy stuff. So I just gotta talk a lot so you don't listen too much of the music. Okay, now this is where it gets a bit more difficult. Because we've painted the skin already. And then if you have a look at here, he's got kind of like ripped bits on his, like torn bits on his pants. I don't want to have to keep going over and over and over that. So I'm just going to change my brush and get quite close to it. See if I can excuse my head for a minute while I duck out. This might get out of focus for a touch as I get real close. I think I need glasses as well. Don't want to get too close to the camera with my hand. Okay. And I'll fix this up at the end because there'll always be bits that you kind of miss or go over. But it shouldn't matter too much with this guy because it's kind of scraggly pants. You can kind of make it look like it's part of the deal, no one will really notice. Just as long as you don't go and slam your brush into it, it should be fine. So like this little, where are we? That little dark spot right here. Where you going? There you go. There. I'm not going to worry about that. Okay, next. There. Getting under here. Oh. I'm also thinking I might change my microphone if I can try and set up my... I've got a like a proper microphone that I use for podcasting, so I'm not using this headset and this foamy thing that's getting in the way. But that'll be a logistical thing, trying to get that to go and work. And you'll probably get a better audio quality. I don't know what it's like now, if my voice is sounding okay. I know I do have a silky smooth, delicious radio voice. Alright, let's get back to these chats. What's going on there? Volume down, okay. OBS, audio, how about that? Is that okay? Is that better? Alphabet. It was just changing songs, so maybe that was... But yes, you can make mistakes because no one will notice. That's the whole point. You just paint all the bits that people are going to look at. And also, once we get towards the end of painting this guy, I'll show you some tips to cover up mistakes. And it looks great. It'll be with basing, so when we paint the feet we can just kind of do whatever, because we'll make the base nice and pretty and it'll be covering the foot anyway. Goodo regarding the music. Okay, so another hold my breath moment while I try and get the top of the pants here. Pro tip, don't drink too much caffeine when you're painting. Otherwise, unless you're trying to do something a bit more abstract, because otherwise you're never going to keep your hands straight. And being the first stream here, and there's always the first time jitters, so you can see I'm going over it a little bit. It's not going to matter too much because when we do all the shading and whatnot, that's kind of going to fill up with colour anyway. So again, as long as I don't go plop and whack it with my brush, that shouldn't matter too much. Man, this pose that he's doing, what is that? What is that really? Like a weird dance move. I don't know. Design choices some people make. Okay. Alright, so I think that's the pants done. I can't, in this light, I've got two studio lights and a wall light going, and I can't quite see. See, now I've just splooged up his leg because I couldn't quite see. It doesn't help that I've got a flipping camera in my face either. I'm trying to work around. But I think we'll be fine. That's also a reason why miniatures can take a while to paint, because if you have a kind of like a perfectionist outlook, then you're just going to be going over and over and over and over until you get it done. But I've been painting for, I don't know, 20 plus years. You get to a point where you're just trying to be more efficient. I think that's a good start so far. I think those colours looking alright. I can see a bit of grey here on his leg. I'm just going to fill it up with pant colour. You can't even tell, can you? No, so that's fine. That's all good. Okay, what would a dude wearing those colour pants wear in terms of top choice? What matches that? More brown? No, that's too matchy-matchy, as Heidi Klum would say. I reckon burgundy. Oh yeah. My mate who I've been painting these miniatures for, he's got a lot of maroons and reds running through his scheme, so that might actually suit the red and the brown. I think that'll be good. Excellent suggestion, thank you very much. Think agony, that's his pose? Yeah, definitely stepped on a piece of Lego. Yeah, need a point tally counter. Okay, dark reds. You've probably seen online people have massive collections of paint. Just rows and rows of paint bottles. I don't go by that philosophy. I think you can just pretty much mix any colours that you want and be fine. So I tend to do a lot of mixing for my colours. That's where a wet palette comes in handy because the paints don't dry, so you can mix it up, leave it on there, come back 3 days later and it's still good to go. Okay, mixing colours, let's see. So I've got a nice deep red. What have we got? What's the colours it's called? Red Gore, it's an old Games Workshop one. These stupid flip top lids that just get super gunky and dry. See how thick that is? It doesn't flow at all. Bloody G-Dub paints. Mind you, that is old, but I've got old G-Dub hex pots. These things, and they still flow. So I don't know. Up your game, G-Dub. Okay, so I've got a red on me palette. Let's get that out of the way. You can see palette right here. That nice juicy red. Be good if I could get my camera controls up here so I can change the focus on the fly. Let's see. Paint cam settings, configure video. Let's see if this works while we're streaming. I think it does. So focus on that. You would think just black to make it darker. Black and white when you are adding to mix can it can be too harsh. What I find to give it a more realistic feel is to use darker, not black and white obviously, but just dark colors. Like for this red, I'm going to be using a dark brown to darken it, so then it won't be so harsh. Okay. Yeah, I've got 2 screens, but I probably need a third. And I've also got 2 mice. Got my gaming mouse, and then I've got this E3LUE Silence. Oops, I can't read that. Just doesn't click. So when I'm recording podcasts, don't hear that bloody annoying click and that you have to try and edit out. Okay, so I'm just gonna start mixing this thing. I usually start on one side and then you can kind of bring in more red if you need more red. So that's pretty dark. Yeah. You know what? We'll start up dark. Because this guy... Bring back the focus. Because this guy... He's got some dodgy corners and crevices and nooks. I don't want to have to do a mid-tone and then try and get in there with the dark as well after that. So I'm just going to do one coat, smash it with dark, and then just forget about that corner. You're never going to see it. It's going to look coloured and dark, and we've achieved our goal. There we go. Efficiencies. Okay. Bring it in. How's that focus? That's alright. Let's colour him up. Is the lighting okay? I think that's okay. In this episode we trash talk G-Dub. I have many things to say about G-Dub. I don't know if I should. I could rant. I mean, they make some great games. And they've made some real poor choices. What I love about G-Dub is their washes. I use their washes all the time. And I'm only using their paint because that's what I've had. I kind of switched to P3, but I hate their lids. I need to get some kind of these dropper bottles from that Vallejo uses and transfer the paint to them, because almost every single P3 paint will end up with a stupid cracked lid and the paint just seeps through and then it starts drying. I don't understand why they can't get that right. Lots of people swear by Vallejo, but I find they can be quite a bit watery. You can't really thicken that up. I suppose you can add thicker medium, but that seems like a bit too much work. So for my tastes, P3 seemed to make a good formula for paint. Mixes well and all that jazz. It's just a shame their bottles suck. Better value too. And I do use some Vallejo. I've got a few that I like to mix with into a thicker colour. So I've got lots of lights and darks of Vallejo for the express purpose of mixing. Okay, so I seem to be trying to work around this rope. I'm just going to forget about the rope and just paint it. We're going to be painting over it later, so that doesn't really matter. I'm just going to try and avoid painting the skin. I don't have to go through that again. Alright, how's his back looking so far? Shiny and wet. Okay, let's see if we can block out this bit, because that's a bit of a mess to try and understand what's going on here. Alright, so we got some vest here that I can see. I should have painted the vest yellow, so I was ripping it like Hulk Hogan. My mate probably wouldn't have liked that though. That's something that I should do as well in the future for streams. Assembling Malifaux. You can watch me get frustrated. People just don't understand it because they don't do it. So maybe I can share the experience. Share the love / hate. I will be getting another box to assemble and paint from this same mate. Again for Malifaux. But the thing with this box is it's one of their, they call it a nightmare box because it's a nightmare to put together. I'm pretty sure that's it. Literally hundreds of pieces. And ridiculous, like why would you put half a face off and separate that from a head and then you've got the hair on top and you have to put 4 bits just to make a face? It's dumb. Okay, where are we? How can you see that? Just getting under the arm here for the vest and the other bit there. Alrighty. And now a super awkward position. I tell you, this is a testament. Trying to paint to a very fixed spot or angle so you can see while not stuffing up. My talents are endless. I wonder if there's a noise that we can get Twitch to make, so when a chat message comes through, I'm notified, because at the moment I'm just ignoring it half the time. The old paints just need a bit of water, well, these ones with the black lids, with the white lids lasted. Yeah, I've still got them though. I've only just thrown out my black and white that I've had. They were the first paints that I've had. I've only just thrown them out. But yes, the ones with the black lid, the flip top, not the screw top, they keep dying and I keep reviving them. I should have put them to bed a long time ago, but never. I shall keep bringing them back alive to do my bidding. Alright, so paint's going to be dry on my brush. I'm just going to clean it and reapply. Yeah, the metal Malifaux ones. Yeah, they're pretty good compared to today's plastics. Okay, let's get back in here. Doesn't help that with this particular figure, there's a flippin' rope right in the middle of the camera. But if I try and move it, you're not going to be able to see. And just for the purpose of the stream, I'm not going to spend too much time with the detail. I'll do that off screen so I can get right up close and do it. I think for your viewing purposes that would be a bit boring, and I think you just want me to get to the point anyway. You just want the payoff at the end. Okay, a bit more water, thin that a bit. Now I'm thinking for the sack, we've got brown pants, we've got red vest, kind of greeny grey skin. I'm thinking like an old dirty Hessian, and that should tie it in, and hopefully that contrasts nice and well with the really bright, almost fluoro green eyes that'll pop. So once I do the hood, I'll just kind of basically bash his eyeballs with some pure white. That'll be the undercoat, so when we do some nice thin green layers, it'll stand out and glow. So it's a very simple tip. Okay. That's looking alright. Hit the skin a fair bit there. And again, I'll clean that up after the stream, because you don't need to see that. And I will get a better job done by doing it by myself. 2 centimeters from my face. Again, a miniature like this would probably take me 5-6 hours. I definitely don't get paid enough to do it, but it's my mate. And it's extra pocket money for me. He's basically paid for all my hobby stuff, because I keep painting all of his miniatures. Where are we? Stream, there we go. And I think all his miniatures are painted exclusively by me. Painted by Benson. Flip it, that'll do. You get the gist. I think that's a decent colour. On the stream it comes up quite a bit brighter than in person, but these are just the base coats. We're just blocking out the paint for now. Alright, so let's have a look here. Let's read these words again. Yeah, I suppose. If the notifications when a chat thing would come through would only came to my ears and not the rest of the stream, that'd be ideal. But that's not probably not going to happen, is it? Alright, what are we at? 3:10. Okay, so I am just going to... How long, can we see how long we've been streaming for? Is there 30... I don't know, an hour? What's that? Well, I can't quite say... Oh, 44 minutes. There we go. Live for 44 minutes. Still got a bit of time. So, old dirty Hessian. What I am going to do is I'm going to mix a lovely baby poop brown graveyard earth, and I'm going to mix it with a sandy yellow. That'll be my base. I'm going to start a bit darker in this one, because when we do the textures, it'll get quite bright, and if we're doing lots of textures, then it'll just brighten the whole thing, and then that'll ruin the green glowy eyes effect. Well, that's what's happening in my head anyway. Usually my painting style, it's quite fluid. I often don't have a plan. I just start putting paint down and see how it goes, and just adjust on the fly. Okay, Let's bring this back. Let's bring up the auto thingy so you can see what I'm doing. I guess I already had it up. What a fool. Okay. Bring that in. So this is the brown I'm working with here. And I'm going to try mix with. Focus. Clean the brush. Bring up the sandy yellow. Xandri dust, which is the yellowy looking thing. Again, this paint's fairly dry in my paint pot. It's almost like a gel. But we don't need a whole lot of it. Mixing that's looking okay. And not happy with that. I think that's still, yeah, I think that's going to be too bright still. So what I'll do is I'll splooge some more yellow so we don't have to keep opening the pot. So I'm going to mix with this later. And I will add a bit of grey to darken it. And this is just a Adeptus Battle Grey. I think it's one of the darker GW Greys. Again, this one's drying out. Most of my paint pots that I've I think there are like 3 quarts used. I'll replace them eventually. Okay, so I've got a grey here, so I'm just going to bring it in just a little bit and see how it goes. It's quite strong. Let's get some more yellow in there. I am more happy with that colour. Again, we'll bring it up to this particular yellow, so that'll kind of be the transition, those 2 colours. But this is the base, this is the bottom. And that'll change afterwards. Okay. Focus. Oh, gotta bring it back down again. Alrighty. Okay. Got windows everywhere on this computer. How's that focusing? Hope that's okay. It's probably a bit too close because I haven't tested the actual capabilities of how close this camera can zoom in, but I'm about 5 centimeters from the camera, so I think that's pretty good. Alright, so I'm not going to worry about his eye sockets yet, because we're going to smash it with white. I just want to make sure at the very end, once I've covered his head, that the sockets are pretty clear and there hasn't been any paint pooling in there and drying. I noticed I did go in there before, but as long as it's wet, I'll just get another paintbrush and let that soak it up. Okay, that's looking alright. Now he had a bit of a hood, so it didn't just end at his chin. Kind of went down his back a little bit. You can see here, so it goes down to his vest. Again, not worried too much about the rope because that'll be done right at the end. That'll be a quick, easy paint job, that one. And seeing as it's being painted last, we can just ignore it for the time being. Alright. Is there much hood? I can see slight indentations. It's harder for you to see because of the shadow. Where are we going? Getting the angle right. You can kind of see it, like that V etched. I think that's supposed to be his hood. Hope I didn't just paint then. No, I didn't. Okay. One thing I do wish It's obviously impossible, but I wish there was a Control Z when you paint. Just to undo, instead of kind of rushing like mad to get a wet brush and then mop it up and then washing that out, wet brush before the thing dries. If you find that's something that you end up doing a fair bit of, maybe try and mix in a bit of drying retardant into your paint. So it gives you more time to work with. I think I got some of that here. I do. I don't know what it is or what it's called, but it's a Vallejo brand. It's clear. Just one drop to anything and it'll make your paint take ages to dry, which is great if you need lots of time to work with. Okay, trying to be really careful around the edges here. Shouldn't have to be too careful because he's dead. Maybe we can kind of gunk up around his neck, kind of give him some stains maybe. And that doesn't really matter too much. Back to focus on the camera. How's Chet? Good. Excellent. Okay, so see, I've pulled into his eye socket here. Get out of the light. I'm just going to move out and get most of that paint off. Just going back to when I asked what kind of hose was that, and Demon Master replied, agony. That's pretty good, spot on. The keyword for this particular Malifaux crew is tormented. So he's supposed to look kind of anguished, but to me he just looks like he's sort of dancing. Yeah, anyway. So I'm just sucking on the brush to get moist, and then I'm just going to knock some of that paint out of the eyes, just to ensure that it's not pooling. Yes, I think definitely for the next stream I'm going to get some sort of marker so I can keep this figure center of the screen, center of the camera. Mind you, I'm working with a teeny space here. So on my face cam, we're talking about that, so there's not much wiggle room. But it was a very good suggestion that I keep the camera away from my painting station, because I am knocking it a fair bit and the camera would wobble, and it's wobbling enough in my hands as it is. Okay, so I'm just going to go back over here. We probably don't need to do this because, like I said, I'm going to gunk up the face with the eye sockets with some white, and that'll bleed over into the edges to give it a kind of glowing effect. And just as I was talking about knocking cameras, I knocked the camera. Professional. And knocking the microphone. Bloody tech. Why can't things just work without me having to do stuff about it? There you go, scientists. That'll be your next research grant. Make things work without having to do things. That's your hypothesis and your statement and your money-making schemes. Let's fix up this. I'm going to use a thinner brush actually, just to make sure I get the stuff out of the sockets and not have to repaint around the sides again. Bit of water, get most of it off. Clear it out. I know some people freak out when you put the bristles in your mouth. Don't freak out. It's non-toxic. It doesn't taste like anything. It's not like we're back in the 30s or whatever, painting the glow-in-the-dark watch faces. Okay. I think that's alright for the time being. That's pretty much Jackdaw, apart from the rope. And now the next steps will be on this guy to kind of start darkening, putting some shadows and whatnot. I think I might leave that there for now. I won't paint any more on this guy today. I might actually jump on tomorrow morning for a bit. We've got Wednesday night wargaming, playing some more Twisted, so I might write an article up on atgn.com.au for that one too, so you can kind of see what we do on the Wednesday night. But I'll come back in the morning, we'll add some shade to this guy for a bit, might be a half hour, might be an hour stream, we'll see how we go with that, and we'll continue on then. So I think that was a pretty good first stream. Thanks for tuning in, and for all the tips as well. Looking at the camera, because that's where you are. Now, just bear with me while I awkwardly move about. Hang on. We've got a thing. Oh, wait, here we go. Ready? Whoop. Hey, transitions. Now I just need to learn to do that more smoothly. Okay, thanks again for tuning in and for all the tips. I'm going to try and stop this as smooth as I can. Maybe see you tomorrow, maybe not. Who knows? I'll be here, I'll be painting, and have a good day. Bye.